Club review time here, everybody, and we've got the new Srixon Z H65 Hybrid. I'm Mike Newton, we're back in the swing studio here. We're just going to have a little look at the new hybrid that Srixon are offering, the H65. Going to see how it looks, how it tests, how it feels, give you some bit of data on the launch monitor here, what sort of distance and peaking out carry we're going to get. Now sometimes we look at hybrids, obviously these are designed as iron replacements. Fantastic golf clubs for amateur golfers here. A lot of guys through fittings that I do are seeing them transition. You know, they're losing the long irons, they're putting the hybrids in to replace them, which gives them a higher, softer landing golf shot, more forgiving, better out of various lies that you get faced with on the golf course. So becoming a very, very popular sort of club. The particular model we've got here with the new Srixon, okay, the Z65 range, is we've got this ripple effect. So we've got this, what they call this arched channel support system here on the top of the head. It's sort of like U-shape sort of channel here basically. So that's helping on ball speed across the face. So trying to get ball speed up as much as possible. They've changed the centre of gravity in the head here, so it's trying to really promote a sort of higher launch, which is all what hybrid is trying to do, and I think that suits a lot of golfers. But as you go into, obviously these are available in a 2 through to 5 hybrid, so I think it's from a 16 degree through to a 25 degree option. So in the lower lofted ones, so the 2s and 3s, the centre of gravity goes right sort of or more back to this back edge, which helps the initial launch when the lower lofted. As you go into more loft, you don't quite need as much help, so that CG just starts to move a little bit more closer to the club face. Okay, so depending on which one you get, it is a little bit of help there from that. So, I mean, initially looking at it, it's a very nice looking golf club. It sits quite square there. You've got that little arc support channel on the top, which sits parallel to that leading edge, which is quite nice in terms of just sort of framing the golf ball a little bit more there. Okay, I'm just going to give you a little close-up of the playing position now. So here's the playing position. So you can see that arc support channel running across there and back. So again, that's helping on what they're calling this ripple effect. So as the ball compresses on the club face, there's a bit of give there, which helps the ball to spring off to try and maximise ball speed off the face, obviously within legal limits, as they're all set nowadays. But you can see it's quite a nice shape here. It's very simple sort of shaping, black head, that polished sort of black finish. You've got the chrome face, the grooves, and obviously, you know, it's a very sort of subtle, classic sort of look really. Just look at it from a different angle. There's the back angle there. Just give you a little close up of that support channel, arc channel there. Okay, really nice sort of finish on the club. There's another view, and there's a view of the face there. So you can see we've got quite a nice large sort of hitting area here. Okay, I've also got this set in, fitted with a Miyazaki, okay, which is in a stiff flex here. So it's a 7 stiff here. So the flex code, international flex code is 6545. So it's 6545. Okay, so it's playing a sort of true stiff here. So I'm going to hit a few shots with this on GC2 here. I've just set myself out here at 223 yards from this green here. So this is about my sort of 3 hybrid sort of area. So hopefully I can try and hit the target, hit the green. Let's give this one a hit. Okay, there's a little bit of a toey one there. Let's just turn that over a little bit left. That's a better strike. Get in the hole. Ooh. Yeah, I've hit that one really well there. That one carried out at 227. Quite a long shot, that. Okay. It's a good strike again, just slightly pulled that one. Feels really nice. Feels quite easy to hit. It's a lovely sound to it as well as you strike it. No problems on flighting that at all there. Sits very sort of square behind the golf ball. Yeah, again, there's that pulley drawery one. I mean, that is my probably weak shot at the moment. I do find with hybrids I get that more so than an iron, okay, which is one of the reasons why I personally don't carry a hybrid. You know, I am more of an iron man. If you've seen any of my videos, my what's in the bag, I'll put a little link up here for that. You can go and check that out. But I carry the driving irons, utility irons. Never been a great fan of the hybrid, to be honest. You know, I've always been grown up playing a long iron. These are just fine. I do tend to turn them over more left than anything. That's a lovely strike again. Again, it's just drawing off left slightly. Got a really good strike there. Love the sound of it. Sounds beautiful. It does feel very, very easy to use. Very easy to strike. Let's hit one more. Yeah, again, there's that pulley one. I'm going to hit another one. Can't finish on that one. Does feel like, I mean, this isn't just the Strix one, but this is any hybrid I put in my hands. It does feel like, as soon as I get it in my hands, I feel like I'm going to miss it left, which isn't a good feeling to have. Let's try and put a better swing on this one if we can. Try and keep this one straight up. Yeah, that's better one. Felt like I'm having to push that out a little bit to hold that on target. Okay, that feels great though. Really nice sort of strikes. Sound is very good. It's not too tinny, not too loud. You know, very positive sort of sound there really. Shaft feels absolutely fine. I think the ball flight is dead easy to get up in the air. As I say, I've just pulled a little bit left here, but that's just a bit more me. With typical sort of shot I generally get with a sort of hybrid really. But we'll have a look at some numbers anyway. Okay, so we can see here we're looking at ball speed 143 miles an hour. Forget efficiency, I've not got my HMT stickers on here, so it's not measuring club head speed accurately and it's not giving us an efficiency because of that. So ball speed is accurate because GC2 picks up ball. Launch angle there you see at 12.4 on average, so that's probably the right area to maybe expect hybrid to come out. You can see strikes just moving that launch sort of from 10 up to 14 there, depending on my face position and a strike there. You can see that all these side spins are left apart from that first one. Some are just getting a bit aggressive, the 900s and 900s there. So, but as I say, that's a little bit more me. I do feel like a tendency to turn the hybrid more over. Spin there at 3.2. Okay, again, strike's going to move that around a little bit more. Descent angle coming in at 40 there. So the ones that have turned over left, you see the descent comes in lower because we all know that a sort of pulley drawery sort of shot is going to come out with a little bit less spin, coming out a little bit lower, and obviously then it's going to descend lower. So they're a little bit lower than where I would want it. The sort of 42s, 41s is probably the area where I would want it. And then obviously you can see there affects the peak height. So again, the drawery ones, 28 and 26, a lot lower against 33s and 32s there. Okay, so we're averaging carry at 227 there. So I think, you know, as I say, it's a good club for the amateur golfer. It's that easier to fight golf club. It's definitely a good option to replace in your longer irons here. But I'm quite happy with those numbers there. It's just me personally, I'm just not happy with hybrids full stop. Not just the Strix, and this will be any hybrid I put in the golf bag, which is one of the reasons why I don't put it in the bag. Okay, but that does feel and sound and performs quite nicely. Yeah, so that's interesting results there. I think personally how it looks and feels is excellent. I really do like the look of that. Again, looks is quite personal. The feel is obviously very personal. I felt that the sound was good, the looks are good, it sits nice and square, which is great because, as I say, my tendency is to slightly pull it. If anything sits slightly short, it's like, big no-no to me. You know, I won't even entertain it. So, but that doesn't, that sits quite nice and square, which is really nice. I quite like the shaft in it, the Miyazaki. They've obviously been with Srixon and also Cleveland for a few years now. They are good quality shafts, so it is a good option in there. There is obviously other shaft options through Custom available. You need to go out and try those. But yeah, all in all, a really good option there. I think it's definitely one to go out and try and get fitted for. Now, probably the hard thing, this is the good point I'm going to make to you here, probably the hardest thing here is to get these gaps correctly. So depending on what your longest iron is in your bag, so maybe for argument's sake it's a 4 iron, okay, you want to fill that 3 iron area. Now this is a number 3, 19 degrees, so on paper this is a 3 iron replacement basically. But what I tend to find a lot of golfers do through fittings here in the studio is, because the hybrid, as we've sort of looked at, it's a lot easier to strike than an actual traditional 3 iron. Because of that and the little bit more flight they get on it, it carries a different number in terms of yardage. You generally find these go further than an actual 3 iron. So as you imagine, getting this gapping going through your set, you know, your 6 to your 5 to your 4 is hopefully getting quite consistent on your gap in there, and then it's trying to then get that same gap in from your 4 into a hybrid. Okay, but if it's you know, it's a 3 hybrid, sometimes I find these gaps just get too big. Okay, and there's still some form of gap there. So I think you've got to go and test these. I would say get on a launch model here, hit a batch of shots with your 4 iron, get an average of the carry, and then you're trying to plot a hybrid, whatever number that is, whatever loft that is, that's giving that next sort of, you know, 12, 15 yards further on in terms of gapping. Okay, sometimes what it is on paper isn't quite as clean cut as what you're actually hitting on a number. As you can appreciate, you might get a head that you don't even like, you don't strike it, you won't hit a number. Okay, so I think you've got to try and find the head you like, you know, go and try this. If you like it, then sort of work out, you know, is it a 4 hybrid, is it a 3 hybrid? You know, don't be scared of mixing it up and having a go, but I think you've got to get a gapping session sorted there with a good fitter really to do that. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Hope that video helped. Let me know what you think of the Srixon range, especially this hybrid. Obviously the rest of the range is fantastic. It's a really good sort of quality range here, but let me know your thoughts. Please subscribe. I'll put the link up here for you to subscribe, and then we'll hopefully see you all very soon.